It is like a flowery canopy, Hua Gai. And let's just rest briefly on Hua Gai, because Hua Gai is the name of Renmai 20, Have a look at your list of lung points on the next page, and have a look at other useful points. So page 10, you'll see a list of other useful points, and kind of two-thirds of the way down, you'll see Hua Gai, Ren 20, Flowery Canopy, Hua Gai. And this is a cool point. Literally a cool point. And Christopher just took me to the beautiful little secret garden around the corner from the school here. And that is a Hua Gai. That is a Hua Gai. Hua for the flowers and the vegetation, flower for the greenery, you know. Flower, Hua means flowery, green, not evergreen, but all these green growing plants. What does that mean? If you have green growing plants, it's full of life, it's full of good qi, and it's full of shade. It's full of shade on a hot, dusty day, yeah, or in the city, you know, those kind of places, like going to a park. You go to a park and you sit under a tree and you immediately feel better. And that's what that kind of place. That place is a Hua Gai. Hua Gai. Literally flowery canopy. And it's really difficult to do justice to the Chinese word gai, because gai is a canopy, but we don't have a gai. We don't have it. You might think it's an umbrella or a parasol against the sun, and it is partly. I don't know if you've seen old pictures of the emperors in China. Some of them have really elaborate, massive hats. Yeah, and it's not just the fashion, because there's only one emperor, and he's not got anyone to show off to, really. What is it? It's a gai. What is a gai? Yes, it is to protect against the elements. True, sure. But it's for more than that. It's in order to ensure that he is in resonant connection with heaven. That's what it's for. With heaven, yeah. So that he's kind of able to draw down, gather, and assimilate the qi of heaven. Because after all, he is Jiangzi. He is the child of heaven. He is the son of heaven. His whole responsibility is to make sure that the will of heaven comes down to earth. That's his whole responsibility. So that's what we have. And the lung is called Hua Gai. It is a protective canopy, and it is a canopy to ensure you are in contact with the qi of heaven. With each breath you take, you can be in conscious communication. Because there's no obstruction from your breath here right the way to the moon, or right the way to the sun, or right away to that distant star you see light years away. That is the Da Qi. That's why it's called the Da Qi, the big Qi. It doesn't end in this room, it goes everywhere. That's the Da Qi. It's the Qi that is great, that is big, that is cosmic. That's what you breathe into your lungs. That's what you have. So this idea both of shade and of liveliness, of freshness, and of protection. So this is Renmai 20. And let's just talk about this point, if we may, right now. It's really a nice point. It's a really useful point when you have a patient, that kind of endless dry cough. Really think of Renmai 20. The dry cough, that dry, endlessly dry. That means the lung yin is damaged, or the kidney yin is not helping to feed the lung yin. It means that, there's not sufficient fluids in the lungs. And this is kind of almost like a nervous cough, and the more they cough, because it just kind of starts them off, and that they can just continue. This is such a nice cooling, clearing, cleaning point. Remember, the lungs should be clean and clear. So this point helps to stop coughing and calms dyspnea, calms and difficult breathing. This is a good point in a kind of dry kind of asthma. You know, we have really difficulty breathing, but especially if there's dryness on the tongue, or dry skin, or asthma and eczema, you know, this kind of combination. Where there's no fluids. Which can be if you live in an overheated house, or if you live in an overheated, centrally heated house, where there's actually no fresh chi coming in at all. Yeah, you're warm, but that's all you are. You haven't got fresh chi to enliven your brain and to give you good chi and blood in the body. You know, you need some kind of humidifier. You know, you need some water in the air. Dry air is not good for the lungs. Absolutely not. Air conditioning is really bad news for the lungs. Really bad news. Not only the staleness of the air, but the lack of fluid in the air. So this point helps to restore. You know, the image of this point is you're hot and bothered and dry and dried out, and you feel weak and your chest is weak and you can't breathe properly. And you just go into a beautiful garden, like the secret garden here, and you just sit there in the shade. Yeah, it's like a kind of a bower, old-fashioned bower with roses on it, you know, and you just sit on the seat there, and then suddenly, everything improves. You just relax and you breathe, and the air is full of beauty and full of fresh chi and full of fluids, and your lungs just come back to normality. You know, that's what happens, and really that is what happens with this point. Sometimes I use this point with, for example, lung 7 with kidney 6. Lung 7 with kidney 6 is this kind of circuit of the lung sending fluid and chi down to the kidneys, and the kidneys sending chi and fluid up to the lungs. The kidneys anchors and then kind of does the return. Yeah, so remember this lung-kidney, metal-water relationship, and helping to reinstigate that. And remember, lung 7 with kidney 6 is the renmai, the renmai, which is the sea of yin. Yeah? So you're using all of these things together. You're restoring the yin from the kidneys, from the deepest power of the renmai, back to the lungs. So I just wanted to mention that. It's not used as an acupuncture point here, but it's the point. The name of the point is mentioned. So that's, of course, why they used Hua Gai to name this point. And again, proves the link between the alchemical texts and the acupuncture texts. Just like the point Du Mai Ten, Ling Tai. That is a Daoist term for the heart, which is behind the heart. Yeah, they're not two separate traditions. They were one tradition.